Welcome to the First Unitarian Universalist Church of New Orleans, a congregation that has been established since 1833 to seek wholeness and work for justice in the world. I'm Melissa Gamble and my pronouns are they, them. If you are a visitor, we invite you to raise your hand so that we can greet you. We are a lay-led church, and on Sunday mornings we invite UUA ministers, other religious professionals, leaders from community organizations working for social justice, as well as our own members, to be voices of hope, courage, and spiritual or intellectual transformation from our culture. Today, Denise Bailey is serving as our worship associate, and Beverly, Rainbolt, and I will be leading us in our annual ritual of remembrance service. As we honor, remember, and reflect on our loved ones, let us be gracious with our time and allow the service the space and time it deserves.
You'll find the cultural awareness events inside by the color of the room envelope. I will read the regular font, and you will read the italic text. We gather today at a crossroads. Reflect the place of many tongues. But we are newcomers to this land. Know that we gather the squirrels of colonialism and local trees. Where we have horns, where we have taken, where we have discouraged, just as the flame of our towers. We add life-giving water to earth. Only when we strive to make amends. Please remain as you are, as the light of our towers, of our heritage, and journey in reading the words that you will find at the huge articles in your art of service. And as we continue this way, we honor and remember those who have passed into history, that the brightness lives on in our vision, their courage lives on in our commitments, and their love continues to bless the world through us.
This is the different songs that play all the way through, and they will be expressed. I'm still proud of this new singing response that we're doing, and I'm obviously not used to it now. But if you will please remain as you are for our opening hymn, which tonight is going to play completely through the first time so that we can learn.
cards that are being passed around, I just want us all to take time to write the name, a memory, a quote, just any sort of remembrance of a loved one that has passed, someone that you hold deeply in your heart, someone that has strengthened you, someone that has brought you joy, someone that has shaped who you are and how you are, someone who stays with you and guides you. And if you need a pencil or writing utensil, can you raise your hand? I'll get one to you. And once you're finished, if you can just keep those hearts with you until it's time for the interlude after our responsive reading, and we'll come up and place those hearts on the altar, knowing that these are our loved ones, and that they're with us, they're in our hearts, they're the folks that we cherish, the folks that have shaped us, made us, and formed us. And if you'd like to keep that name secret or that memory a secret, you can just pull that little heart and have it. And please keep writing as we transition into our time of meditation and prayer. And after this meditation, we will enter into a time of silence, followed by the singing, at the end of which Dwayne will begin playing Voice Still and Small. We will sing along in the words in your order of worship. Let us now unite in the spirit of reflection. This is a difficult time for this service, to be both tending to grief, but also hold space for celebrations of life in this ritual of remembrance. Let us hold in our hearts those people most affected by the decades-long systematic violence and war on Palestine and the Palestinian people, and the war on Ukraine, and the continual crisis in Congo. Let us hold in our hearts the people most affected by Hurricanes Helene and Milton. Let us hold all these beloveds in our hearts, along with all those who are suffering and grieving and frightened, here, everywhere, as we contemplate the Spirit in silence together. Know that some of us will share joyful memories, while for some of us, memories hold feelings of deep loss, regret, and even anger. All these feelings are real and they are valid. Know that you are in a safe place with your feelings, that you are among a caring community. Whom do you hold in your heart? A grandparent, a parent, a significant other, or another family member? Perhaps today you grieve for a close friend or beloved pet, someone whose presence in your life brought you joy, someone who made your world a better, safer, more beautiful place. Perhaps someone you weren't ready to lose. Today is the day we remember those souls who have gone before us. Today we celebrate and we remember in a ritual of remembrance. Please join me in our responsive reading located in your great hymnals in number 721, entitled, They Are With Us Still. I'll read the plain text and you'll join in the italicized text. In the struggles we choose for ourselves and the ways we move forward in our lives, and bring our world forward with us. We share a history of those lives. We belong to the same ocean.
They too were strengthened by what had gone before. They too were drawn on from the vision of what might come to be.
Those who lived before us, who struggled for justice and suffered injustice before us, have not melted into dust and have not disappeared.
They are with us still. The lives they live holds us today.
Their words remind us and call us back to ourselves. Their courage and love evoke our own. Bear them with us. We are their voices, their hands, and their hearts.
Take them with us, and with them choose the deeper path of living.
without it anywhere I go, my dear, or whatever is done by only me is your doing, my darling. I fear no fate for you, or not fate, my love. I want no world, for beautiful you are, my world, my love, true. And if it's you or whatever a moon has always meant, and whatever a sun will always sing, is you. Here is the deepest secret nobody knows. Here is the root of the root, and the bud of the bud, and the sky of the sky, and the tree called life, which grows higher than soul can hope or mind can hide. And this is the wonder that is keeping the stars apart. I carry your heart. I carry it in my heart. So when Festival of the Dead, All Hallows Eve, All Hallows, Halloween, All Saints Day, La Toussaint, All Souls Day, Dia de los Muertos, Fête Day. These communal celebrations share the ancient spiritual practice of remembering and paying respects to the dead. They all celebrate the idea of the space between the living and the dead becoming thinner, more malleable, the ability to communicate between worlds becoming extra natural, but in a communal way. What is magical is we hold these in our hearts, and people. So, what is magical is these 4 or 5 parts of the world are all celebrate the thinly veiled space in time or light for 3 or 4 days on our calendars. The same 3 or 4 days.
They are indigenous holy days and pagan holy days, preserved by practitioners, and also melded with, co-opted, and appropriated in large areas of the world into Roman Catholic holy days of commemoration, remembrance, and communion. In the U.S., commercialized first into a night, now a month, of costumes and shenanigans. Samhain, which means summer's end, began as a Celtic celebration of the end of the harvest and the start of the coldest half of the year, placed on the pagan wheel of the year, exactly halfway between autumn equinox and winter solstice. That puts it at the end of October, beginning of November. For many practitioners, Samhain is also the spiritual New Year, was the ancient pagan festival of the dead, a time in which the space between the dead and the living bent, a time in which the souls of the dead could step back into this world to visit, to return for a bountiful harvest feast with family and with friends.
As Christianity, especially Catholicism, grew and spread throughout Europe, transforming parts of Samhain, a celebration of the ancestors, into an honoring of the saints and martyrs. November 1 became All Saints' Day, or All Hallows. The day for remembrance of the souls of all the dead. In other words, the not so saintly among us.
If you grew up in Catholic in New Orleans, you may have spent many childhood All Saints days whitewashing tombs and picnicking grounds with family, placing flowers and sharing stories at the family vault or plot. Every All Saints Day in the North Shore community of Lacombe, there is a practice called La Toussaint, in which families place hundreds and hundreds of candles and floral arrangements on freshly cleared, cleaned, and painted tombs and gravestones. And descendants gathered late into the night at 4 community cemeteries. The candle display is to represent the lighting of the way for visits from the ancestral souls. But it is also a symbolic reenactment of when early peoples lit branches for funeral processions along the bayou.
With westward colonization and the arrival of Roman Catholic Spaniards to Mexico, the indigenous people's customs of honoring the dead at this time of year became Dia de los Muertos. For Dia de los Muertos, celebrants build ofrendas, private altars honoring the deceased, overflowing with offerings of painted sugar skulls, marigolds, and the favorite foods and beverages of the departed. They visit grave sites, bringing these offerings and leaving possessions differently only in style and the produce harvested from the practices and festivities of the Celtic and Roman Catholic traditions.
Also celebrated during the first few days of November is Haiti's Day of the Dead, Beverly Day. With its beautifully constructed altars and drawings on the ground called lilies, offerings of special food and drink, and most importantly, sacred dances and drumming, rituals that are central to voodoo ceremonies and are all performed to attract the ancestral spirits. Each sacred object or performance is an invitation to the dead to travel to this realm and celebrate with their living descendants. While celebrated in some Catholic and Protestant churches through Mass and service, this is mostly a festival of indigenous African traditions that were brought to Haiti with enslaved people.
For many, these days have morphed into the secular smash-up holiday we've come to know and celebrate as Halloween, which has grown from one evening event for children to an event that all ages enjoy and celebrate, and costume and decorate for an entire month with decorations of pumpkins, squashes, and corn to represent the harvest, and the recent burgeoning proliferation of skeletons to represent the dead. In New Orleans, we have the Kraken House, the Ghost Manor, and the Skeleton Mansion, which I encourage everyone to go out and see this week. Costume tricksters everywhere and all ages. The spirits of Halloween have produced the second biggest spending event in America. Samhain, Festival of the Dead, All Hallows Eve, All Hallows, Halloween, All Saints Day, La Toussaint, Dia de los Muertos, All Souls Day, Fête Day. These are the days. These are the days of remembrance for honoring friends and loved ones and pets and other lost creatures who have passed and have gone before. These are the days we may feel the veil thinner between life and death, here and there, present and past. The days that spirits walk or float or sit among us. Days that celebrants would have the souls of the dead return for a meal or a dance with loved ones. The days that ghosts, zombies, skeletons, and ghouls and swifties walk our streets, knock on our doors, yell their threats of tricks, but are easily assuaged with offerings of treats. The days that communion and communication through the veil is possible, if only in memories. Now is your time to share. If you feel so moved, you can say a few words. We'll have microphones up here. You can come forward. You can come up this way and kind of line up this way. And say a few words about the person or the pet or whatever, or the building that you are missing and want to remember today. So after everyone has spoken, we will have a reading of our ancestors. So if y'all want to come up.
Good morning. I'm Henry McCarthy, and I'd like to honor Susan Daniels, my friend and colleague and mentor. She is the originating reason why I've lived in New Orleans for the past 39 years. I was living in New York at the time, and I attended a seminar that she gave. And I walked out of the room and I said, I would love to work with that woman someday. So I developed a long-distance collegial relationship with her. She called me up one day and said, we have a vacancy in our department. She founded the Rehabilitation Counseling Department at LSU Health downtown. I applied for it and got the job. And she was so inspiring and fun and brilliant and a clever thinker. And she eventually became the number 2 person developing progressive disability policy in the federal government. And every few years she would call me up and she'd say, Henry, I have this great job for you working with me. But by then, New Orleans had sucked us in with our charm and even refused to move. So I had I lectured. I invited her to lecture whenever she came back from New Orleans, where she grew up. And so a foundation found out that I had this and they asked me for it and they made it into a DVD. So this was the easiest picture that I had of her.
I'm Margot Anderson, and I brought a little picture of my father today. People who know me and have heard me complain, he was a fairly difficult character, but one kind of unusual thing about him was he sang all the time. He was a general music teacher in the schools, and he had a song for everything. He narrated my young life in song. And this is a little picture of us sitting at the organ, getting ready for a friend's wedding. And sometimes Melanie comments that I have a song for everything. And I know where it came from. So this is
Jody Manali. I want to honor today my Cajun cousin, Judith Falk. She died on Thursday in Lafayette. She was one of 6 sisters. She was 64. She was the only one who remained single, became a CPA, and led a very happy, fun life. She did a lot of traveling. She was always considered the fun aunt with all the nieces and nephews because, of course, she could spoil them rotten or do things with them that, their parents might not have been inclined to do. But the deep thing about her loss to me was it was very sudden. She had an aggressive form of cancer and she died unexpectedly. When I visited the family on Friday in Lafayette, it brought back all the memories of my dear brother Nick Manali, who died 12 years ago. This is his in-law family, and I went to support my sister-in-law and my 2 nephews, Seth and Blake, and their whole family. I have lots of beautiful memories being with them, parties, funerals, graduations, and more graduations and more graduations in a really big family with a lot of kids. But it also reminded me of how much I miss my dear brother Nick. So this is also a memory of Nick Manali.
The spirits are truly among us. I don't know if anybody noticed, but after the poem today, I got up and I put something else on the altar. This was in my hymnal. It's the sad postscript to last week's Labyrinth celebration. Marcy Brenton's picture on it. I was like, can't let that go. So Marcy, as everyone knows, that was at our old building, pretty much single-handedly made our labyrinth. She'd never made a labyrinth before. She took tile, she made a design, and she laid it out in love. And just that her picture was in that handbill, didn't it? Of course, all to honor her, because last year, we didn't know that she had died because she had moved to Mobile at one point, and we all kind of lost touch with her. And so honoring her, I want to do it to honor her today.
Hi, Dylan Hutzler. This morning I'd like to honor a few people. The one closest to my heart is my dad, Andy Anderson. I have a couple things I want to say. One is very sweet and one is a little bit more morose. So Andy's favorite color is green. He is allergic to cinnamon and horses and loves a good baseball game on the bar TV. And I'm also honoring, my dad passed about 2 years ago. I'm also honoring my 4 students that have passed, that I've taught. And then my 2 friends that were like brothers to me, who passed of opioid overdoses in 2014. And about a year and a half ago, his brother passed. They were 25 and 35. I wrote a haiku last night when I couldn't sleep. God is a buzzard in the deep blue cloudless sky that picks our bones clean.
Hi, everybody. So this morning I'm remembering first 3 people, my 3 parents, my mother, my first mother, my father, and my second mother, the woman my father married when I was about 2 and a half, and throughout my life. And I've recently come to a place of real understanding and acceptance of them all three, and that feels good. I mean, for the first time in my life, to love them all and all of their messiness, including with each other, and that's like nothing I can explain. That I finally feel like there's nothing left holding me back from completeness in my love and trust for each one of them, and my understanding of their failings, and I don't hold anything against them anymore. And I was thinking about that and in the meditation, and then I realized that they were holding someone. They were holding a baby. And then I realized that it was the grandchild that I lost, that we lost 3 years ago. They were holding Joelle. And they were holding her. And it made me really want to let Kendra know that she's in their good hands, and they love her. And I just felt that just kind of swam over me. So that felt really good. And so the thing that I brought this morning was a set of pins from my mom's. It just seemed like a good thing that I didn't want to picture, because their lives were so fractured because of the divorce that they really had a hard time getting along with each other. And so these pins kind of represent how it all got pinned together. And they also they're probably from the 70s, and I can't seem to get rid of them. I don't really have a use for them, but I just keep hanging on to them because they're an heirloom to me, and they help piece us together.
Today I'm remembering my grandfather, Joseph Nesbitt, and his brother, Thomas Nesbitt, who we laid to rest last week. They both grew up in Gola Beach, South Carolina, and are the reason why I love Oprah as much as I do, and is the reason why I love my black skin as much as I do, is the reason why I'm trying to learn their Creole language, is the reason why I'm still standing here today. They have shaped me, they have molded me. I remember the first time I met my uncle. I had moved to Brooklyn, and he has this little church in Brownsville, New York, on Chester Street. And he would preach for 3 hours, of course, because it's Pentecostal. And at the end of it, him, my sister, and I would just have dinner together, because at that point it was dinner, even though we started in the morning. And I just appreciate the ways in which they really carried on the Gola traditions. They really carried on the tradition of struggle and resistance, and they really carried on and carry all of my cousins and aunts and uncles and everyone in our family. They really instilled in us this spirit of resistance, the spirit of blackness that is so beautiful and so expanding.
Today, I'm remembering something. It's been a long season of loss. My Aunt Sandra passed away about a month ago, and she cut her own path through this world. In the mid-50s, she decided that she was going to go to college in Mexico. She hung out with artists and intellectuals and Marxists, and after that, she decided to come back to New York, where she was going to live in Manhattan for the rest of her life in her own way. And I remember visiting her when I was myself going to her 5th story walk up where she had a bathroom was in the kitchen. And she grew weeds in the windowsill because that was the only thing that grew, but damn it, she was going to grow something. Who was an artist, a chef, a caretaker of children. The woman who later in her life began to swim at the YMCA and started to learn Chinese so that she could learn what all the old Chinese women were cursing her out about. And she taught me that it was okay to be an oddball, to be myself, and to cut my own path. And I always loved that about her. I carry that deeply.
If everyone has had a chance to share, now I'll call Kathy Hubble up, who will read the names of our ancestors.
Good morning. I started attending this church in 1985, and there were been many people at that time and since that touched my life and inspired me at all kinds of levels, and certainly have shaped me as a UU. And I'm grateful for having that experience. Linda Hogan is a Native American writer, and she has said, walking, I am listening to a deeper way. Suddenly all my ancestors are behind me. Be still, they say. Watch and listen. You are the result of the love of thousands. So these I consider to be my direct UU ancestors, starting with Jack Gillespie and Millie Gillespie, Dee Dee Howard, Reverend Albert Durando, Betty Jensen, Audrey Barnett, Al Pleasanton, Dot Bolts, Evelyn DuBartel, Leah Moulton, Oscar Flowers, Ron Henderson, Rich Murray, Marshall Weber, Paul Escher, Kathy Cohen, Nicole Spaulding Escher, Carl Ketchell, Gina Ketchell, Esther Scott, J.B. Gautreaux, Judy McCoy, Margaret Schaefer, Dave Longenecker, Danielle Knight of Roquefort, Sam Hinton, Charles Foster, Wade Welch, Meg Gutowski, Kit Center, Kara Morgan, Pat Henry, Lonnie Goldfinch, Sherilyn Shoup, David Gelfand, Michael Bailey, Bob Porter, Julie Howard, Linda Lambert, John Walcott, Lynn Kaliva, Augusta Butler, Dee Dee Devereaux, Mary Minkoff, Michelle Gramion, Martha Boudreaux, John and Nathan, Joe Cook, James Butler, Shirley Ann Grau Fiegelman, Oliver Minkoff, Rodney Workman, Cherie LeBlanc, Jenna Hawes, Wayne Nettles, Joe Boudreaux, Ron Kushia, Bill Snyder, Max Escher, Peter Day, Dr. Gregory Ferris, Charmaine Dumorel, Sybil Pine, Avis Ogilvy Moore, Jimmy McCara, Paul Murray, and Marcy Brennan. So this list is largely chronological, and apologies if I'm omitting anyone, but I am grateful for each and every one of them.
Generosity is a spiritual discipline. We can now practice our act of giving, either by texting give to 504-608-7030, placing it in the basket when the greeters come by or doing it. Gifts to this community of faith are faithfully received. Let us acknowledge them with the union words and your order of worship. This gift from the abundance of my life, bless me, our ministries, and the world.
Instructions for making an offering can be found at the QR code in your, as well as your weekly announcements address, where you can find
the announcements if you, by aiming your smartphone at the QR code in the order of worship. Do want to let you know that this Sunday, I thought it was yesterday, or would have let y'all know sooner, but anyway, this Sunday, Rain is celebrating their fall festival. They're having a chili cook-off and other things in the festival. So we will still have our coffee. We still have snacks that we brought yesterday. But if you want to partake in the chili and judge the chili, I think it's a contest. You are welcome to do that too. Rain has been very welcoming to us. And I want you to know that next week is the service is our guest speakers are the Descendants Project. It's an emerging organization committed to intergenerational healing and flourishing of the Black descendants community in the Louisiana River parishes. The lands of the river parishes hold the intersecting histories of enslavement, settler colonialism, and environmental degradation. Through programming, education, advocacy, and outreach, the Descendants Project is committed to reversing the vagrancies of slavery through healing and restorative work. We aim to eliminate the narrative violence of plantation tourism and champion the voice of the Black descendants community while demanding action that supports the well-being of Black descendants. And so at the Descendants Project was the perfect Sunday to have a speaker to have after our Remembrance service. Also, I want you to know that in the fellowship hall, there's a table set up to sign up for the Christmas tree sales. Remember, the Christmas tree sales is our biggest project biggest non-worship project of the year. And it's also a lot of fun to get out there and haul Christmas trees around and talk to people about, and how they're going to decorate and whatever. So Kathy Hubble will have a table set up for volunteers in the fellowship hall. With that,
Please stand in Bible spirit and turn and our chalice which is in your order of worship.
Excuse me, Denise, can I come up and make a spotlight announcement about the...
oh, I'm sorry, I got thrown with Melissa coughing. So yes, come up and yes, it's time for our stewardship moment too. Sorry, Jody.
Good morning. We had a nice party last night for all of you who came. For everyone who put it on, thank you. We're about halfway through our budget drive, and we have had we're about a third of the way toward our budget goal of $90,000. So I just want to repeat the progress to date. As of today, we've had 19 individuals and couples make their pledges out of 67, or 28% of the congregation. And pledges have totaled $33,300, or about 37% toward our goal of $90,000. So thank you to everyone. Again, when the canvas comes out, please answer your telephone or text or an email so they can set up a meeting with you to come talk to you about how you're feeling about the church and so on, and talking to you about our financial situation and inviting you to pledge your time, your talent, and your treasure. Thank you. Oh yes, that's right, I'm sorry. We have a testimonial today from Glenn Dunnigan.
There is more love somewhere myself. Because I learned to love me. In order to love me, then I can love others. I found peace. Because not only with that love, I gained confidence. Confidence that I had never had. To go back to school at 52 years old and decided I didn't want to die again. So these are some of the lessons that I learned from understanding that I was perfect to be me as I was. That first amendment that we had talked about, that's what really drew me in. I said, well, I'm going to see am I included this time. So far, so good. So all I'm saying to you this morning is that I'm still searching. I'm still looking. When it comes down to the pledge, it has always been my concern because I said to myself, church is an option. This isn't something you have to do. And if I'm not satisfied with my participation, why do I come? I say to myself, okay, maybe my money is limited, but then I have other God-given talents. Like when Linda Wren was getting ready to paint the nursery. What can you do this? When you can go and paint? And they had to tell them when they have the Christmas tree sale. Can you go and help build trees? What else can you do? Have some God-given talents. You can bring speakers from all over the country to join your congregation, to perhaps receive some of what I receive, confidence, peace, love. I've done that. And still to this day, I'm not all that happy about what I'm able to give monetarily, but I'm here. I'm going to show up. I'm going to give what I have. So all I can say to you is join me and seek it and believe it.
Before we extinguish the chalice, I want to say, Gwen, there were a couple of times this summer that we could have used your song reading ability. Some of you remember. Some of you remember. And I also want to say that what I said a while ago about the Christmas trees bringing in a big portion of our funds was true. But you know what brings in the bigger portion of our funds, what we depend on for our budget and for our planning for the next year? The pledge drive, the annual budget and stewardship drive. So thank you, Jody. Sorry I skipped over you. I would not have. Oh, and certainly not you or Gwen.
Now, please stand in God's spirit, our spirit, and join in our chalice extinguishing, which is in your heart of worship. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Now, I'd like to ask all of you to stay standing for a minute and to listen for a second because Dwayne is going to play a new song. So he wants to give everyone an opportunity to have an idea of what it sounds like before we start singing. So we give him a minute. Okay? 128. 128 in there.
benediction, I'm using words from Leah Derlund Jones, inspired by our ancestors. For those who came before us, we offer gratitude and thanks. May their memories be a blessing. May we feel surrounded by their love as we go forth from this time and place. Let us be inspired by their courage, their wisdom, and their dreams. Let us honor them by doing the work of living boldly, loving mightily, and creating heaven on earth. Amen and blessed be. The circle is open but never broken. Those who are not with us in body are with us in spirit. They live in our memories. We carry them in our hearts. May the threads that connect us never fray. So in the spirit of radical hospitality, turn and greet your neighbor and then wander upstairs for coffee and chili.